Last class we have seen about mobile system organization. I think now you got a clear picture about the internal functioning of a mobile. As you know, if you do not know much about the working of a mobile, then also we can use it. But being a computer student, we should study elaborately about these devices. Whenever you are getting a chance to study more about computer, you please try to use it. We are dealing with a smart machine. So dear students, I expect that smartness from you in your studies, daily routine, exams and behavior too. So shall we begin the class? Today we will study more about computer software like operating system, language processors, that is assembler, compiler, interpreter, then application softwares like packages and utilities. Dear students, you might have learned all these things in previous classes. Now, this portion is part of our syllabus, so you please memorize the topics during the class. So first of all, we can see what is a software. So a computer can have two parts, a software and a hardware. What is hardware? Hardware means the physical and tangible part of a computer. For example, all the input-output devices, secondary storage devices, all are coming under the hardware that can be seen and touched. And software. Software means set of instructions or program which manage the operation of the computer hardware. So let me ask, what is a program? Do you know what is program? I mean the computer program. In computer program there is only one M. So computer program means it is sequence of instructions or set of instructions to solve a particular problem. For example, if I ask you to find out answer for this mathematical expression 3 plus 5 into 2. What is the answer? You may do 5 into 2 first, right? Then add 3 with it. So the result is 10 only. Because you know how to do the mathematical operation. So you may follow an order like Bodmer's rule. First you may give the priority for the multiplication, then only addition. So what are the sequence of operation? First is 5 into 2 and next is this result, that is 10 plus 3. So this is the first step, this is the second step. So this can be written as a computer program by following the sequence. So computer program is sequence of instructions to solve a particular computer program. You are going to become programmers. We have a beautiful language to learn, that is Python, that is coming in next classes. Okay, so come back to the software. Softwares are set of program. All the computer programs stored inside a computer are considered as softwares and which governs the hardware to run. So the software can be of two types. They are system software and application software. System software and application. What is system software? The system software which controls the internal operation of the computer. Some examples. One of the system software is operating system. that is a familiar thing. And another type of system software is language processors. What is operating system? Operating system is an interface between the user and the computer. So if you want to do anything in computer or in your smartphone, then there must be an operating system in your computer or mobile. Say some examples of operating system. A common thing. Normally, while hearing operating system, what is coming to your mind? Windows is one of the operating system. Then anything else? Ubuntu or Linux, Unix. Then Mac operating system is there. Concerned to the mobile, Android is one of the operating system. iOS is another operating system. Solaris is another operating system. Many operating systems are there. So this is a homework for you. You please find out minimum 6 operating system. 6 operating system. It can be a mobile operating system or computer operating system. And please message to me today itself. Find 6 OS. Okay. Come back to the point. Operating system, that is an interface between the user and computer. So the operating system itself is a vast topic, but only limited thing is given in your syllabus. There are many functions performed by the operating system, like main functions we can see. Main functions of operating system. One is it manages the memory. And the next one is it manages the processor. And it manages the input-output devices. So, how an operating system is managing the memory of a computer? For example, when you are trying to save a particular file inside your computer, so the operating system plays a very important role. How? So, we are just clicking, typing the name of the file and clicking the save button. So what is happening inside the computer with the help of an operating system? The operating system creates a particular table that is called the file allocation table. And it just store all the information necessary to keep. That is the name of the file and the person who creates the file. Then the date of the file, the size of the file and the storage location of the file, where that particular file is stored inside the memory. That sequence of byte is also stored in that particular table. Then whenever you are trying to open that file, the operating system just check the file allocation table and check the location. It brings that particular file back from the memory to any of the output devices. Mostly we are displaying the same on the monitor. And if it is to take printout, it just move the data to the printer too. Okay, I hope it is clear how the operating system manage the files in case of memory too. And there are a lot of things concerned to that topic that is beyond the scope of our syllabus. So let me just conclude like processor management. CPU is managed by the operating system and input output devices is also managed. If you are trying to take a printout, then this operating system gives the control signal, produces a control signal and it is passing that controls to the output device or input devices accordingly. Okay, so that's all about the operating system. It is giving a clear-cut picture to the computer what to do, how to do and when to do. Everything is clearly specified as a program. So if there is no operating system in a computer or a smartphone, it never functions. Yes, next is language processors. So language processor has its own importance, especially for a programmer's point of view. We will see more about language processors now. So before learning about language processors, can you say what is computer language? So to communicate, we are using some language. In the same way, to communicate with computer, we need some languages. And we will just see the history of the computer languages. And at the very beginning, there was only one language, that is machine language, or we can call it as binary language. The binary language speciality, binary language use only two symbols, that is 0 and 1. In this language, there are only two symbols, that is 0 and 1. In English, we have 26 symbols. And if you want to represent anything in maths, normally we have 10 digits, 0 to 9. But in binary language, there are only two symbols, they are 0 and 1. So if you want to communicate anything using binary language to the computer, you have to follow this 0 and the language of 0 and 1. The combination of the language may vary, but only two symbols we are using. At the beginning of this chapter, we have discussed what is this 0 and 1 actually. They are the high voltage and the low voltage. Okay, then next type of language is assembly language. What is this assembly language? See, we can just see an example. Example program using binary language. If you want to give a command to the instruction to the computer to add two numbers, let it be 2 and 3, 2 plus 3. So how can we write a code, or how can we instruct the computer to add 2 with 3? If so, if I am using binary language, I have to give the commands, like first I have to convert 2 to binary. The binary equivalent of 2 is 10. That you will learn in the next chapter, how to convert decimal number to binary. And next is the plus symbol. For every operation, then internally the computer uses some sequence of code. So we can just assume the plus corresponding binary code of plus is 1011. That may or may not vary according to the system. So here I am using 1011. And the next is 3. The binary number corresponding to the number 3 is, decimal number 3 is 11. Okay, so we are feeding this information to the computer. Then the computer will give you the result as 2 plus 3. So it returns the result as 101. This is the binary equivalent of 5. Then the user or the programmer should convert these binary number to decimal number. Then only we may be able to find out the real output of this program. Clear? So this is the binary code to add these two numbers. Then at the very beginning there was only binary language or the machine language. Then the programmers struggled a lot. Then after all they find a new language, that is assembly language. The speciality of assembly language is, in assembly language they use some assembly mnemonic codes. So the mnemonic codes, they use some mnemonic codes. For example, if you want to, the assembly language support all the numbers. So the same program we can write using assembly language. To add 2 with 3, I have to assign A as 2. Then next, store B as 3. Then for addition, the add keyword can be used, add A with B. Then to print the result, use display E. So this is the code fragment for adding this two numbers. In assembly language, they made some codes to convert, that is store for assignment and add for addition, display for printing, mult, div, and there are many mnemonic codes. Then the programmer should by heart all these mnemonics to give an adequate command to the computer. That was the problem with assembly language, but compared to the binary language, that seems to be simple. Okay, then you can move to the next type of language, that is high level language. Can you say some example for high level language? Okay, C, C++, then Visual Basic, and our language that we are going to learn, that is Python language. They are examples of high level language. And a high level language means that is more English like language. For example, if you want to add 2 with 3, the same problem, 2 with 3, and the corresponding C++ code, the high level language C++ code to add 2 plus 3 and display, I have to write C out 2 plus 3. This statement is enough. Then, if it is in Python language, it is more simple. You give the command 2 plus 3 inside a print function. Okay. So, while seeing it, it is very clear that the high level language is more English like language. So, anyone can write by just studying some of the commands supported in that particular language. I hope this section is clear. Computer. In computer, we are using these 3 types of language: binary, assembly, and high level language. Yes, come back to the language processors. The language processors are the translators, or they are the translating program to convert source code to object code. What is the source code and object code? I said at the very beginning there was only machine language, then later programmers developed some assembly language, then after all high level language too. But the computer, inside the computer, the data is storing in the form of only binary digit. That is not changed. That we cannot change. Okay. Then how it is possible by writing assembly language and high level language, how the computer is dealing with that program which is written in assembly or high level language. For that, the system is using a special technique. Actually, that is what is language processors. So we have 3 types of language processors. One is assembler. Next one is compiler. Then interpreter. These are the language processors which convert the source code to object code. Object code means the code using binary symbols. Then source code means the code which is written using any of the languages, either assembly language or high level language. So assembler is a language processor which converts an assembly language code to binary language. And compiler and interpreter both are converting high level language code to binary language. Okay, I said computer understood only the language of 0 and 1. Even if we develop lot of high level languages, so that to convert our language program which is written in either assembly language or high level language to the binary language or to a computer understandable form, we need a special software. Actually, they are language processors. They are the translating program. So, this language processor's role is to convert this assembly language to binary language or convert high level language to binary language. Okay? Suppose you want to communicate to a person who knows only French. Then what you will do? So, for that you need a translator who knows both the languages, your language and French too. So, the same role is carried out by the language processors. They convert our program to binary language. And we will see the difference between compiler and interpreter. Assembler is clear, I think. Convert assembly language to binary language. And compiler and interpreter both are doing conversion of high level language to binary language. But they differs. Now we will see the difference between compiler and interpreter. What is common for compiler and interpreter? Both are language converters which convert high level language to machine language. And the way in which it is converting, that is different. The conversion method is different. And in compiler's case, it converts the entire high level language to machine language in a single go. In one go, it converts. An interpreter is converting the high level language to machine language line by line. This is very important. For example, if you are writing in C++ programming language, we are using compiler. So if it is a 30-line code and compiler will convert all the 30 lines to the machine language. Then only it reports the errors. If there is any error in your program, it reports error at the end of conversion. But in case of interpreter, in Python language, we are using interpreter. Then in interpreter's case, if there is any error in the first line or second line, it just stop execution. Then you have to rectify the error, then only it will proceed. So it is doing line by line conversion. Compiler is converting the entire program in a single go. And next point is connected to the first point. Compiler's case, it reports error at the end. It reports error at the end. But in interpreter's case, it reports error after every line. If there is error, it reports after the line in which it finds the error. And the next important difference between compiler and interpreter, the compiler needs less memory. That means when a program becomes error-free, the compiler no longer needs in-computer memory. Because when it becomes error-free, it creates a new file called object file. It creates an intermediate file, object program file it creates and keep it in computer memory when it becomes error-free. But in case of interpreter, it requires more memory, because it is not creating any intermediate file even if the program becomes error-free. Okay, so this could be more clear with the following example. Suppose this is your program with 20 line program. And if you are using compiler to conversion, then the compiler must be there in computer memory. Then your program also must be loaded in your computer memory for the execution. Compiler is a program, so it must be there. And when this program becomes error-free, it creates an intermediate file that is called an object program file. It creates an object program file with the same code in binary format. Suppose this is written in C++ code, it creates an intermediate file in the form of zeros and one. And when this program is error-free, we need not want the compiler present in the computer memory. Why? Because it is already created the object code. Next time while executing this program, the compiler is not required in computer memory because we have the object program file. But in case of interpreter, the same program, if I am writing in Python programming language with 20 line code, first my program and interpreter both will be loaded in computer memory, and at the time of execution, interpreter is doing line by line compilation. Then suppose there is no error at all, then also it is not creating any object program. It is not creating any object program, so that next execution time too, I need interpreter and my Python program in computer memory because there is no intermediate file creation. But in case of compiler, it creates an object program, so I need not require compiler to be loaded in the computer memory. I hope the difference is clear. This is a possible question for your examination. Many times board also asked the same question. The difference between compiler and interpreter. Compiler is doing compilation in one go. Interpreter line by line. Compiler reports error at the end of the program, and interpreter reports error after every line. After every line which found the error, then compiler requires less memory for the program execution. Interpreter requires more memory. I explained the same why it uses less and that more memory. Okay. The next topic is application software. Application software means they are the set of programs necessary to carry out operations for a specified application. For example, railway ticket reservation system or library management system, school management system. They are specialized for a specific application. A school management system we cannot apply in a railway system. A bank management system we cannot place in a library of a particular institution. Okay, so they are really based on a specific application. And there are three categories of application software. One is packages, next is utilities, and the last one is customized software. So first we will see what are the packages. So the packages means the general application program. Then there are a lot of examples that you might have learned before, like word processing software, MS Office. Word processing is one of the example for package. Then spreadsheet. Example is MS Excel. Then there are some presentation softwares. Then the DTP softwares, desktop publishing software. They are the examples of packages. They are general application softwares. Then next is utilities. So what are the utilities? Utilities are the program which assist the computer to perform some housekeeping functions. So some of the utilities, you may familiar about many utilities, and some are antivirus. Antivirus software is one of the utilities, and it scan for virus and remove the virus, the threats concerned to the computer. And another type of utility is disk defragmenter. What is defragmenter? So defragmenter is related to the storage of a file. For example, if a file is big in size, then the computer can store in a special format. For example, if there is no continuous space to store a file, then the system is using a memory management technique. Its operating system is doing the same. It divides the file, the original file, into different segments, different subunits, then storing these subunits in different locations, free locations. Then whenever a user want to open that file, we are just giving the command to open the file, but the operating system bring the different fragment of the file and load the same to the computer memory. So the problem is it will take time to load these fragmented file. To bring that data from different location, it takes time. So it affects the performance of the computer. To manage the same, the defragmenter utility you can make use. How it is working? Defragmenter will just assemble all the fragmented file into a single unit. So defragmenter brings all the fragmented file as a single file if it is possible. If there is sufficient continuous memory, then only it is doing. So the defragmenter utility gather or manage the fragmented file by assembling them and keeping in a specific location. And another utility, disk cleaner. This is more familiar for you because the smartphone is also doing the same cleanup utility. There are lot of cleanup utility which are loading automatically in your smartphone. If there is no sufficient space, it loads automatically. Then just to prompt you to just to click on one button, okay, like disk cleanup. Okay. Then another type of utility is compression. Compression means it just storing the data in a specific format which needs less space, less storage space. When we are uploading file, normally we are seeking the help of some compression utilities or softwares. Then we can reduce the file size using compression. Then you can bring it back in the normal form by exploding the same in the normal format. And there is some other utilities like backup utility. What is backing up? Backup means creating duplicate copy of the original file, and if there is any damage, then we can make use of the backup files. So these are the main utilities concerned to the application software, and there are many other utilities too. And application software's third one is the customized software. That is very simple. And the customized software, normally we are using customized software in institutions and organizations that is specified for a particular site or a particular institution. For example, have you heard about the Tally? Tally is one of the accounting tool. Okay, Tally is a general package. Tally is a package or general type of application software. And if you are using Tally in your system, in your institution or anywhere, then you can customize the Tally in your own way by giving your institution's name and everything. But the Tally is Tally. We cannot customize it in a specified location. But the programmers can develop their own program to customize an institution. For example, if Alfonsa School requires an application software, then we can approach the programmers, then they may reach out the site and they may study our system thoroughly, then they can develop a program for and on behalf of Alfonsa School. And that may not be applicable to any other school. There are a lot of software, school management software, so they are coming under the packages of the general type of application softwares. And if you want to customize a software, then you have to write special software or special program for the same. I think this section is clear. So today we have learned what is software, what is hardware, what are the different types of softwares. Can you say what are the different types of software? System software and application software. System software can be of two types mainly. They are operating system, then language processors. Language processors can be assembler, compiler or interpreter. Then next is the application software. Application softwares can be of two types: packages, then customized software, that is a subpart only, then utilities. Utilities can be antivirus, disk defragmenter, disk cleaner, compression or backup utility. So dear students, I hope this section is clear. Please read this section, write the notes and study well. Thank you.